Yeah.
Did you see that?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it shows a pretty nice looking lady with when they zero in on her eye, and her eye is basically looks like a serpent's eye.
Well, they had to shut him up because he was coming out with too much information on the Illuminati bloodlines.
Right.
And so anybody that's a big mouth, they shut up.
All his information that he come out with is in his book. I got his book, and it's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, that's why William Cooper wasn't going to get taken down. He wasn't going to go sit and rot in a jail.
Oh,
because that's what they do. They throw phony charges on you, throw you in jail, and so you sit and rot in jail the rest of your life. And Fritz wasn't going to go out that way.
I mean,
well, not Fritz, but William Cooper wasn't going to go out that way.
Right.
But his was recent. His was only about 3 or 4 years ago, William Cooper.
Yeah.
His death was, fairly recent, more recent than, some of the others getting thrown in the can.
Anyone else out there that, Alex Jones, I was listening to your show with Larry last week or a couple weeks ago, and Alex is definitely, he's screaming, but he does get away with a lot. He gets away with a lot, and it doesn't seem like nobody's bothering him at all.
Well, you know what? When you're the government, you have to, that there's negative groups out there that are going to be against you, and so what they do is they control the opposition. So they can steer it and control it.
Right, and that's basically who he is. He's basically a control mechanism, isn't he?
I believe so. I believe he controls the opposition. He steers them how the government wants them steered.
Right.
The government doesn't care about the fear factor that goes around about martial law in America, because it gives them strength. It gives Satan a strength. They feed off of fear.
Oh, yeah.
And so they will put people out there just to put people in fear, because they feed off of it. They get a satanic energy off of it.
Oh, yeah, well, all they got to do is, they're feeding off fear of people who don't know any better, but there's many people out there who are ready to go to war. Well, go ahead and call your martial law and see what happens.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen, too. I think that when that does happen, there's just too many people I know and people out there that I don't know that are not going to go for it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They have so many different cards to get where they need to go that you never know what's going to happen until you see one actually unfolding before your eyes, like this Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
They wanted to take out New Orleans the last time with that last hurricane.
I say it's either going to be nuclear or biological attack, and it's going to be major, and that's how they'll get away with calling the...
Well, we keep hearing about this biological attack, and I just don't think they can pull it off.
You don't think so?
I just, unless they pour anthrax on everybody from the air, because the flu epidemics aren't taking off the way they wanted them to.
Oh, they got much more. I mean, Ebola,
the West Nile virus.
Ebola virus has spread like wildfire.
Yeah, some of them, and I think as the tribulation period goes on, as time ends, they will become more of a factor. But not just because of the plague itself, but because of the cures.
Well, it's biblical. But in the last days, a lot of people are going to die from plagues.
Yeah, but they've got to come up with something to where, I mean, if they're sending 10 million body bags to the outskirts of cities, they're planning on some massive casualties.
Yeah.
And I
hope they get me quick.
I haven't seen anything yet but poison that can cause somebody to just fall over dead. Than outright poison itself.
Right. Well, like cyanide, you mean?
Yeah. And so it's either going to be outright poison, or it's going to be, some kind of nuclear dirty bombs that hit cities. I had to tell people last month, August, September, October, it's switching back to the New World Order faction, so this is all in the Bush court. Everything happening now is their cards playing.
I won't keep you on. I just want one other question on your opinion. Another angle they could use is to cause a major geological crisis with scalar technology. Maybe get some earthquakes going off and just cause a mass problem.
Scalar technology?
Yeah, scalar technology.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've always believed, and I'll stick to it, that the Russians are killing us on that.
You think that's them who's...
The Russians dominate space, and people look at me and laugh, and they don't agree, but I'm telling you, the Russians dominate space weapons. They dominate them. Because while we were busy with mind control and running all these MK Ultra projects and learning how to control people's minds and split their minds and control them,
they
already accomplished that, and they were in space.
Right.
So while we're busy learning how to control people as be sex slaves, they're dominating space with space-based weapons. And if you look at the wars, I've looked at the wars of 2009 and 10, where Russia can destroy every one of America's cities from space with laser beam weapons.
And we paid for it, too.
Yeah, basically.
Let's not forget, we paid for their stuff.
Yeah, well, we fed their country while they were spending all their money on space-based weapons.
That's right. No doubt. It's no news to the chieftains up there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, their people aren't any better off for it just because, it's all window dressing. America talks big that we're the superpower, but when it comes down to it, Russia could start pushing buttons anytime they want to and flatten any American city anytime they want. If you look at this war that's coming up in 2009, 2010, they will ground every single airplane in America before it even gets off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They can beam it, they can blast it out of sky from space.
Wow.
None of our pilots will be able to get off the ground here in America.
Because of that technology?
Because of their space-based technology.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, you try to warn people and tell them about it, and then they just, oh, no, America's got it. And, yeah, right. Well, America's going down.
It's going to be exciting from here on out.
Yeah, and I don't fear any of this stuff. I don't know why people do, because the Lord just wants His people to put His faith in Him.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
And I hear from people all the time, well, if I had money, I'd go buy a cave, I'd leave the country, I'd get out of Babylon, I'd get out of America. and it's not about money, it's just about having faith in Him, because He knows His people don't have money.
Right.
His people aren't the ones that spend their days worshiping, idolizing, and trying to create and cheat and rob and steal money from people.
Right.
And He just wants us to depend on Him and have faith in Him. And perfect faith casts out fear.
Amen, no doubt.
And so I just tell people all the time, it's not about money, it's about faith. Just put your faith in Him and don't fear what's coming.
That's right.
That's
very true. Even the best of us, it happens to all of us. I find myself sometimes, only because I have children. If I didn't have children, I probably wouldn't affect me as much.
Oh, I know, exactly. If I didn't have kids, I don't have one yet of fighting age. But if I did, I would probably be thinking of heading to South America or Canada before Iraq, I'll tell you that much.
They're innocent little beings, and God knows that. He's going to take care of His little ones.
Yeah.
And, if you have I think you're supposed to have the faith of a child, childlike faith, and children, they just basically blind faith, and they don't worry. I guess if we could separate our intellect from this world that we seem to cage ourselves in, we could probably be more like children and live the way He wants us to live. But so many pressures in this world, Satan's creative genius just got us right where he wants us.
Yeah.
Hey, one other question. We'll let you go. In the last days, when the armies come up against Israel, one of my teachers who I respect believes that the armies are going to come up against this country, and the passages are referring to this country because Israel is, even though they are the chosen people, there's a lot of the people here in this country.
That's what I believe.
Oh, is that what you believe too?
I can't go through and point out scriptures to back what I believe on it, because the scriptures don't really support it.
Right.
But I know it's what He's told me. He's told me Ezekiel 38 and 39 refer to the United States. But when you read those chapters, you can't parallel it.
Well, that's because you don't speak Hebrew and can't write in the right context.
You can't question the translation that was used in the KJV.
Right.
The way they say things, the way they refer to things. If you read those two chapters outright, it would totally detail the land of Israel. But when you read it, and you know that today His true Israel are those who follow and worship Him, the land of Israel rejects Him. He's got more true Israelites, true Jews and believers here in America.
Right.
We're the people of Israel.
We are His last bastion. We are His, we are His children. We're Christians here.
Yeah, and so I think that's where a lot of people, they will get this Russia and China attack. But I think it's going to be the same attack as mentioned in Ezekiel.
Yeah,
they just can't. You can't read those two passages and put two and two together because it's just not there.
Right. And why would He protect Israel when it's being run by a bunch of phonies?
Yeah, people that reject it. There's probably about 10 to 20% of real believers over there, and the rest, 80%, are the fake Jews.
Right.
The Khazars.
He wipes out their